made me a wretch beyond all expression. You've left me no power to determine whether or not I'm just to you or not. Be gone. Relieve me from the sight of your detested form.
Come to the hut upon the mountains. The sun is yet high among the heavens.
As he said this, he led the way across the ice. I followed. My heart was full, and I did not answer him. But as I proceeded, I weighed the various arguments that he had used, and determined at least to listen to his tale. I was partly urged by curiosity and compassion, confirmed by resolution. I had supposed him to be the murderer of my brother, and I eagerly sought a confirmation or denial of this opinion. But I consented to listen, and, seating myself by the fire with my audacious companion had lighted, he thus began his tale.
Thus I relieve thee, my Creator. Still thou canst listen to me, and grant me my compassion. Hear my tale, it is long and it's strange, and the temperature of this place is not fitting to your fine sensations.
It is with great considerable difficulty that I remember the original era of my being. All the events of that period appeared confused and indistinct. A strange multiplicity of sensations seized me, and I saw, felt, heard, and smelt at the same time. And it was indeed a long time before I learned to distinguish between the operations of my various senses. Darkness then came over me and troubled me. But hardly had I felt this, when by opening my eyes, as I now suppose, the light poured in upon me again. Before I had quitted your apartment, on a sensation of cold, I was poor, helpless, miserable, wretched. I knew and could distinguish nothing, but feeling pain invade me on all sides, I sat down and wept.
One day, when I was oppressed by the cold, I found fire, which had been left by some wandering beggars, and was overcome with delight at the warmth I experienced from it. In my joy, I thrust my hand into the live embers, but quickly drew it out again with a cry of pain. How strange, I thought, that the same cause should produce such opposite effects.
My place of refuge was constructed of wood, but so low that I could with difficulty sit upright in it. No wood, however, was placed on the earth, which formed the floor, but it was dry, and although the wind entered it by innumerable chinks, I found it an agreeable asylum from the snow and rain. Having thus arranged my dwelling and carpeted it with clean straw, I retired. Through this crevice, a small room was visible, whitewashed and clean, but very bare of furniture. They were a mixture of pain and pleasure, such as I had never before experienced, either from hunger or cold, warmth or food. Night quickly shut in, but to my extreme wonder I found that the cottagers had means of prolonging light. The setting of the sun did not put an end to the pleasure I experienced in watching my human neighbors. It was a lovely sight, even to me, who had never beheld aught beautiful before. He played a sweet, mournful air, which I perceived drew tears from the eyes of his amiable companion, of which the old man took no notice. The family, after having been thus occupied for a short time, extinguished their lights and retired, as I conjectured, to rest. And I withdrew from the windows, unable to bear these emotions. I found on the ground a leathern portmanteau containing several articles of dress and some books. Fortunately, the books were written in the language, the elements of which I had acquired at the cottage. I now continually studied and exercised my mind upon these histories, whilst my friends were employed in their ordinary occupations. They produced in me an infinity of new images and feelings that sometimes raised me to ecstasy. Soon after my arrival in the hovel, I discovered some papers in the pocket of the dress which I had taken from your laboratory. At first, I had neglected them, but now that I was able to decipher the characters in which they were written, I began to study them with diligence. It was your journal of the 4 months that preceded my creation. Cursed Creator, why did you form a monster so hideous that even you turned from me in disgust? At this time, a child came running. I seized on the boy as he passed. He struggled violently. Boy, you will never see your father again. I grasped his throat to silence him. In a moment, he lay dead at my feet.
Cursed Creator, why did I live? Why in that instant did I not extinguish the spark of existence which you had so untauntly bestowed. You must create a female for me with whom I can live in the interchange of those sympathies necessary for my being. This you alone can do, and I demand it of you as a right which you must not refuse.
I do refuse it, and no torture shall ever extort a consent from me. You may render me the most miserable of men, but you shall never make me base in my own eyes. Shall I create another like yourself whose joint wickedness might desolate the whole world? Be gone. I have answered you. You may torture me, but I will never consent.
You are in the wrong, and instead of threatening, I am content to reason with you. I will revenge my injuries if I cannot inspire love. I will cause fear.